the Vivobarefoot Jungle ESC. Just over a year ago, I made an unboxing and torture test video of these exact boots. And like I mentioned in that video, today is the 1 year review of these boots. So I'm going to go over the good, the bad, and the ugly and everything and how these served me over the last year. So first off, let's start with the grip. I was hyping about the grip so much, and I can say that a year later, that grip is still super reliable and just one of the best grip designs that I've come across so far in a pair of boots. But saying that, I haven't actually tried them on ice or snow because these aren't made for winter. So I've primarily been wearing these for the hotter seasons in the UK because they're not waterproof and they're really airy and very lightweight. So these have jungle in the name, and that is because they're actually made for a jungle environment. In the jungle, it's hot, it's humid, it's wet, and when you're exploring the jungle, there's slippery wood and mud and you're definitely going to get wet. So these are actually designed in a way that they let the water in because that way they dry out even quicker. They're basically a really durable wetsuit boot that's made both for getting wet and also for the land, but in a kind of warm, humid environment. People have mentioned that they wear waterproof socks with these to make them a little bit waterproof. I haven't tried that, but I think that would actually really work if you want to keep yourself dry. So what I personally used these for was exploring the woodlands in the UK and mostly wildlife photography. I've basically done a whole wildlife series on this YouTube channel where I wore these boots in every single one of those videos, and I got them for that because they are extremely quiet. They just make no noise when you're walking about. They're made in a way that they're just extremely flexible. Like, look at this, and you can just walk and run and maneuver in them so well. They're like a trainer as well. They're just so many things into one shoe. Now, going on to the laces, I did have issues with keeping the laces done up. For some reason, they just kept coming undone, but someone actually commented on that video and told me that I was actually tying my shoelaces wrong. I was tying them the traditional way, you know, where you go like this and then loop it round and then tie it. But apparently, if you tie the first knot, make the loop, and then instead of going over, you go under and around. And if you want to make it even more secure, you can do a double knot, and that actually stopped them from coming undone. Now, I haven't needed to remove the lace and use it in an emergency situation or just to tie up a tent or something, but the laces are still in pristine condition. Also, I've been using these boots a lot along salty environments like near the sea and on the beach, and none of the eyelets are showing any rust or corrosion. And examining the boots themselves, there is no rips or tears on them, not even along the top lining. In my torture test, I was mostly on soft terrain or muddy terrain, but over the last year I have used these on concrete, and I can say I haven't even really thought about it, so they must have done really well. I've also walked on wet concrete and grass and slippery mud, and they've just done really well in those conditions as well. They're also extremely ventilated, so in hot weather, even though they are a boot, they do keep your feet relatively cool. I'm not saying they cool your feet down, they definitely do higher the temperature a little bit, but it's not a significant amount. Nothing like wearing leather boots or another type of boot that will just toast your feet in hot conditions. Now, this is the first day that I've actually got these boots out this year. There's kind of a heat wave coming and I'm starting to use them again, but I haven't even touched these for the last 4 months. They've just been sat on the shoe rack because they aren't made for the winter. In the UK where I live, it rains a heck of a lot in the winter, and I definitely need a pair of waterproof boots. If I wear these in the winter in the UK, the wet's gonna seep into there, even on the dewy grass, make my socks wet, my feet cold, and it would just be a horrible experience. And if you are going down the waterproof neoprene sock route, even in that condition in the UK when it's winter and the wet's going in, I think you will need about like a 3mm neoprene sock if you want to keep warm, so I wouldn't recommend using these in the winter. I just want to quickly say the socks that I personally use in these boots. So I use the ankle socks in these boots, which actually exposes my ankle and part of my leg, and when I'm rubbing my leg and ankle against this boot, I get no blisters or soreness. So the lining is actually relatively soft when wearing these, and I love the fact that you can just wear minimal socks in these. I bet you could even go barefoot when walking around in water and in woodlands and you'll be absolutely fine. And I think that would actually be the best way to wear these if you're going through water and on land. If you're just on land, the sweat might build up and start to smell, but if you're going in water and on land and in woodlands, you'll be absolutely fine in these. These are extremely lightweight and you can walk so far in these because of that weight. Also, when walking around on dirt and sand, nothing seems to actually get into these shoes because there's a webbing on the tongue all the way down the boot, so nothing is going to get in the side of the tongue. We've become so used to slipping on Crocs and slippers that doing up a boot like this feels an inconvenience to us, but because I spend quite a long time in these, and if you get these, you're probably going to be hiking for a long time, walking for a long time, but you will notice it. Like, there's a lot of tying up and adjusting to do to get into these, but It's nothing, like honestly, it's 30 seconds. I'm actually gonna go through the comments on my last video and answer some questions that I had about the boot. So someone asked, would these be good for motorcycle and motorbike use? And I would say definitely not. These are extremely lightweight and flexible and flimsy, and they have little protection. So Salona is saying that the actual pattern is from the swim run collection on Vivobarefoot. So they basically put loads of shoe into one. It's just a very versatile boot. Someone also said, are these good for a first time minimalist kind of barefoot sneaker? And I would say no. I'd recommend getting something like this, which is the Primus Trail. These are my daily shoe, and I've had these for a couple of years now, and this is the firm ground version. These are just basically incredible for daily use. I use them for running and walking and just everything. This isn't paid for or sponsored by Vivo. I'm literally just buying these shoes because I like them. I'm making a review about them because I want to share them. In regards to sizing, I got my usual shoe size in these. Even though the toe box is quite spacious, it does really hug your ankle and heel and just hold your whole foot in place when it's in the shoe, letting your toes and everything in the toe box just spread out and feel comfortable. Now this pull tab comes in really helpful. I've used it a couple times to pull it up my leg, and it's just really nice that it's there. But I would say these are a specific weapon to have in your arsenal, just sat there for when you really need them. I wouldn't recommend getting these for just an all-round pair of boots. There is a specific kind of environment and weather conditions that these thrive in. Even for protection, if you want like steel toe caps or a more hardy boot, I don't think these are for that kind of environment as well. Just because the lining is really thin. I mean, they do protect you from like scrapes on wood and trees and rocks, but if you're wearing these every single day and you're dropping like pieces of metal or even chopping loads of woods and they're falling on your feet, I wouldn't recommend these for that. They're really for adventuring and hiking and walking. Now we need to not forget that these are a barefoot shoe, which means they're a flat sole. There is a tiny bit of, I don't think there even is any rise. There's not a single bit of support in the bottom of these shoes. It's just a completely flat sole basically. Here's the insole. As you can see, it is pretty flat. And I've been wearing barefoot shoes for around 4 or 5 years now. So my feet have already adapted to barefoot shoes and barefoot walking. So I haven't noticed any discomfort or cramping or blisters in these. There's also some heel support, which has actually really helped my heel when I'm getting over logs and just climbing about. That really does save my heel from getting hit. So in conclusion, I do not regret buying these shoes at all. Even though I don't wear them for 4 months of the year, when I do grab them, they're exactly what I need. And going from how they look after a year, these are most likely going to last me a decade or more. I hope you enjoyed the updated review, and if you're going to grab a pair, I'll leave a link in the description. Wow, look at this tiny moorhen. I'm sorry, but that is definitely not meant to be out of the nest. Okay, the mum's behind it. I think she's going to lead it back into the nest. Okay, the mum's led it back to the nest now. Anyway, if you want a pair of these, I'm going to leave a link in the description because I definitely do not regret buying these. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the updated review on these. If you want to see them in action, subscribe for the videos where these feature, and I'll catch you in my next video.